Sojourner Truth. You've definitely heard the name, right? You probably even know a thing or two about her famous speech. But what if I told you the story we all think we know? Well, it's not the whole story. Not even close. Let's dig in and find the real woman behind the legend.
This line, it's from her incredible 1851 speech at the Ohio Women's Rights Convention. It's just got everything, doesn't it? The wit, the power, that absolute conviction. You can see why a quote like this is echoed through history.
Okay, and here's where things take a really fascinating turn. The version of the speech that we all know, the one with that iconic phrase, "Ain't I a woman?" Well, that version wasn't actually written down until 12 years after she said it. So let's just look at the difference here, because it is stark. The original report was published just a month later by someone who was actually there. It doesn't mention "Ain't I a woman" once. The famous version, written 12 years later, from memory, by the event organizer, it adds that phrase 4 times, and this is the crucial part. It's written in a stereotypical Southern dialect, which is completely wrong. Sojourner Truth grew up in New York, and her first language was Dutch. She spoke with a Dutch accent her entire life. So, to really understand the woman, we have to go back, way back to the beginning. Before she was the icon Sojourner Truth, she was a girl named Isabella Bowman-Free, born into the harsh reality of slavery in New York. Let that sink in for a second. Her first language was Dutch. This one single fact completely changes the picture most of us have in our heads. She wasn't from the South. She was a New Yorker, through and through, from a Dutch-speaking community. $100. When she was just 9 years old, that was her price at an auction. She was sold right alongside a flock of sheep. It's a number that just coldly spells out the dehumanizing world she was born into.
This image you're seeing, this is the estate where it all began. This isn't just some old house. It's the physical place where her life started in bondage. This was her whole world, a world she would one day have to find the courage to escape.
But you know, escaping was really only the first step. Her journey to freedom was also her journey to becoming one of the most powerful, most important voices of the entire century.
Just look at this timeline. It shows this incredible transformation. In 1826, she literally walks away from slavery. 2 years later, just 2 years, she's in a courtroom fighting. By 1843, she has a new name, a new mission from God. And by 1850, she's telling her own story, in her own words, to the world.
This is just a mind-blowing moment in history. Can you even imagine the guts that took? A black woman, recently freed, unable to read or write, decides to take a white slave owner to court to get her son back, and she wins. It's just an unbelievable testament to her spirit.
And that name she chose, it wasn't just a name. It was a mission statement. She would be a sojourner, a traveler, and her whole purpose was to speak the truth. It was her declaring to the world exactly who she was and what she came to do. So, armed with this new name and this powerful purpose, she became an absolute force on the national stage, an activist who never, ever tired of speaking truth to power. I just love this quote. It feels so modern, so savvy. At a time when she had basically no rights, Sojourner Truth was selling photographic portraits of herself to fund her work. She copyrighted her own image. She turned her shadow, her picture, into a way to support her substance, her life's mission. What an incredible act of self-ownership.
And her activism, it was what we'd now call intersectional, way before that term even existed. She wasn't just fighting one battle. She knew that the fight to end slavery, the fight for women's votes, for prison reform, for economic justice, it was all part of the same struggle.
And you can just see how far her journey took her. The woman who was born into slavery in New York goes on to recruit soldiers for the Union Army and gets invited to the White House to meet the president. Her voice had become that powerful, that vital to the nation. Her biographer, Nell Irvin Painter, just nails it with this quote. Sojourner Truth forced America to see the people they were pretending didn't exist. She stood right there at the intersection of being black and being a woman and demanded that both identities be seen and valued. So after a life like that, what is the legacy she leaves behind? Well, it's not just something we read about, it is quite literally carved into the American landscape. Her legacy is it's everywhere. There's a bust of her in the U.S. Capitol. She's the first African-American woman to be honored like that. NASA named a Mars rover, Sojourner, after her. How cool is that?
She has a state park, a postage stamp, and her picture is going to be on the new $10 bill.
She passed away in 1883 when she was about 86 years old, and this is her final resting place in Battle Creek, Michigan. It's the end of the road for a woman who traveled so far, not just in miles, but from a piece of property to a national icon.
And that really brings us to the heart of it all. Her work, her truth, it wasn't just for her time. She was challenging the world to recognize the full humanity and rights of every single person. So the real question her incredible life leaves us with is this: how are we continuing that journey, that sojourn for truth today?